Do you enjoy tasting chocolate from other places? Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a layout based on a chocolate factory that we visited while we were in Ireland. We're going to do some inking today. I'm super excited. It's going to be really fun, and I hope that you will enjoy it. It's just a different way of doing a layout, and if you keep your mind open and open to trying new things, maybe it'll be something that inspires you. I hope so. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. Wow, okay, so this is my workspace for today. We are going to play with some ink. I hope that that's something that is interesting to you. And if it's not, then you can, we'll talk about different options that you can do instead of what I'm going to do with the ink when we get to that point. But let's just review what I've got out here on my desk as far as supplies go. I have a piece of avocado and a piece of Kelly Green cardstock. I have 2 pieces of the new Starlight white cardstock that has flecks of color in it. You can see kind of some speckles, okay? And then I have my permanent and repositionable adhesive going. I pulled 5 different scraps out of my scraps that I've been using in this, in my Ireland series. So these reasonably kind of go together, but kind of don't. And that's okay for what we're going to use them for today. It'll be just fine. I have in the middle here, I have a stencil that's made by Simple Stories. And I was trying to go for like just, yes, this is called cobblestone and it's meant to be like a road. That's not how we're going to use it today. The photos we're doing today are for a chocolate factory. So we are going to use this to represent chunks of different kinds of chocolate. And we're going to use these inks that I have over here. Now these 2 right here, the Memento Dewdrop inks that are here, Rich Cocoa and Potter's Clay are the name of the colors. These are the 2 that CM just dropped. So these just dropped. They just launched these. We're moving towards using more of these types of things in the CM line. So you're going to be seeing ink a little more often if you are a CM customer and you look at the website a lot. You're going to be seeing this a little bit more. Doesn't mean you have to get into using ink if you're not familiar with using it or you're not comfortable with it. That's fine. But I just wanted to dabble with it a little bit today and kind of share with you the differences between what I used occasionally before and what CM is now offering. And we're going to play just a little bit. Okay, I also got out an older punch. This was a promo gift with purchase at Black Friday time a couple years ago, and it's called Beaded Ovals. I've always wanted to use this punch in the way we're going to use it today, so I'm excited about that. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to just move my adhesive off to the side as much as I can. I can't push it any further than that because I'm so glad you can't see the rest of my desk because right now it's a disaster. But, you know, there will be a day when I can clean. I have faith. There will be a day. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, because I want to see what it looks like, is I'm going to take this stencil out of the wrapper and get rid of that wrapper. Okay, so this is a really cool thing. If you've never used a stencil before, they can be a lot of fun. Some people like to tape their stencils down. It depends, I think, on how large of a stencil you're using, how much of the stencil you're planning to ink, that kind of thing. But in the past, because I haven't done huge amounts of inking, I have just held it in place as I used my brush, and it worked just fine. But If you want to, you can tape it down. You can even add a little CM repositionable adhesive on the back of one of these and stick it down where you want it. As long as you're not applying a ton of pressure, it will hold and do what you want it to. So that's exciting. We're going to play with that in just a little bit. But first, I think what I'm going to do, these are going to mat our photos. So I'm just going to move those over to my photos, which I've already cropped, and they should be good to go. We're going to use these papers as our base pages, and those are going to be the ones that we're going to play with the ink for. But we're going to, I think, start with punching some of these fun printed papers. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over. If you've never turned your punches over, I highly recommend it because it's so much easier to be able to see what you are doing. You can conserve paper, you can do all kinds of things when you can actually see the area that's going to be punched. Okay, so if you are dealing with a scrap, this is ideal. You flip your punch over and you can see where you're going to punch. And then you can make the most out of your scrap of paper. Okay, I am not worried about continuing my design, and I only want maybe 3 of these, so that's why I'm not worried about punching this like it's a border, because it's not going to be a border, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, so I'm just gonna punch, and it may seem a little random, but that's okay. We're gonna do the same thing with this guy. And I'm just gonna do 2 of this one. We'll do 2 of this one. You're going to need your precision point scissors if you're using this, following what I'm doing today with these. So you might want to get those out as well. Okay, we'll do one more of this. I don't know about you, but when these, when this punch came out, it came out at of course, I mentioned that already, at Black Friday time frame, which, whoa, hello. Dropping your punch is really not the best idea, but it's won't hurt anything. It's just not super great and can be scary. This, as I was saying, these came out at Christmas time. This came out at Christmas time as one of the promos for Black Friday. And I immediately thought about what we're going to use this for today. And I kept thinking, oh, I should make a Christmas card and use that on a Christmas card. But then I never did. So if you have this punch, get it out. And you can play with it and maybe use it on your Christmas cards this year. Unless you make the CM ones, and then, you know, you can. I always kind of do a variety. Some CM and some handmade. So just sort of depends. Now, looking at that shape, what do you think that looks like? I have thought for a long time that it looked like a piece of candy, wrapped candy. And these tinier little bits right here would be the gathering bits of the candy, and then the cellophane wrapper would stick out just a little bit on the end. So I'm just going to trim this off right at that end, and then look at that. It really, to me, it really resembles a piece of wrapped candy. My grandpa, or I don't know, I assume it came from my grandpa, used to have hard candies that he would keep around at Christmas, especially. At least that's the memory that I have. I think it was my grandpa. My mom might be correcting me if she watches this. I have fond memories of going to his house and enjoying butter toffee peanuts and candy corn, because he was a candy corn fan. You may not be, but he was. Candy corn is one of those things for me that I like. When I have a craving for it, I will eat it. But then I don't have a craving for it anymore, and I can't stand it. So, I don't know. I know there's definitely polarized people out there. Some people really love candy corn, and other people not so much. Are you on the candy corn bandwagon? Do you like it or not? All right, so I know we normally, here in the States, we don't see chocolate really wrapped like this. Although Lindor chocolates, Lindor truffles, definitely wrapped like this. So, you know, if you are doing a layout and someone you love loves chocolate, maybe this will be a good option for you. But even if they don't, if you're doing a layout for Halloween, this would be good. I mean, I could think of doing this with lots of different things, but mostly, you know, it should be candy or sweet related, I think, if you're going to use this punch this way. Maybe you have another way of using this punch. If you do have another idea for how to use this punch, let me know. I know it's with the name that it has, beaded ovals, and the way it looks, I think it's reasonable. Those of us who lived through the 70s era will remember beaded curtains. And beaded curtains would be super cute to make with this punch if you have it, or if you can find it on an in search of site. Super fun. Okay, just about done. Then we'll have our embellishments for this layout pretty well put together, because that's what those are going to be. We're going to embellish with those. And I just thought I would do them first since I had my scraps sitting here, because then I don't have the scraps in the way anymore. There's our embellishments. They're all ready to go right there. Okay, now what we're going to do, what I think we're going to do, is I'm going to use, let's do just one sheet at a time. I'm going to get my repositionable adhesive. I'm going to put a little bit in each corner of this paper and see if it will stick down to my mat. I think it will. And if I can get this to stick down to my mat, then that will help me in the long run. Yeah, woohoo! Okay. All right, so that's going to stick down to my mat. I'm going to grab this. I'm not sure if we'll need it, but we might. So this is the CM mat that is designed for mixing your inks, if you want to do that. So this is a great option for you. It's a little bit sticky on one side, which is good because it just keeps it from slipping around. You can see I can't really push it, which is good because when you have ink on here, you don't want it slipping off the table or falling onto you. Let's talk about ink for just a second. So I've got these archival inks, which if you're going to use ink, I will highly recommend that you find one that's going to be water resistant or waterproof. Okay, and archival ink is waterproof, it's acid free, it's permanent. And because of that, it's safe to use in your albums. These Dewdrop Memento inks say they are fade resistant dye ink. Okay, so that's a huge asset and something to look for in the ink that you're going to choose to use, because you don't want something that's going to fade. And many inks, if they are water-based, can fade over time. You don't want that. Okay, so that's the difference between these, or well, a slight difference between these two. Dewdrop does make chalk inks and things like that. I think I've used my chalk inks in my albums before, just with the knowledge and understanding in my head that the chalk ink is not necessarily a fade resistant ink, and so it could fade over time, and that would not be what you would want. Okay, so, but I used it because I didn't have a color in the archival ink that would work, and I didn't have a Memento version of Dewdrop to use. Okay, let's talk about brushes. I've heard many people say, well, why do I need the CM brushes? I can just get brushes off of Amazon, and they're a lot less expensive, and they are just as good. Okay, well, that is an argument. Okay, I got these brushes off of Amazon. They're the same super fine haired brushes. You can see they get it. They do a great job, and they are very much like these brushes that CM has. Okay. One of the huge differences between the CM brushes and the brushes that you get on Amazon, of course, is the size. Look at the difference there. Okay, so this brush from CM is a lot bigger, almost twice the size in width and in length from the Amazon brush. The other difference is it comes with a really cool cover, which I really like because I don't use my brushes all that often, but I want something that's going to keep that brush clean, okay, and protect my fingers and things that it might bump into while it's still wet from getting ink all over them. The other thing that's really cool about the CM brushes is when they come out, they will come out with an ink, and the color of the brush will match the color of the ink. So any of you who have all these brushes that maybe you've gotten off of Amazon, they come in really different colors and many, many different shades, which is great. But you can't always match the color of ink you're going to use it with the color of the brush. So you'll always get, if you buy the bundle, you'll get the brush with the ink, and that's, by the way, the only way you can get the brush is if you buy the bundle, okay? And the brushes, the color of the brush will match the color of the ink, which I really like because I'm a matchy girl. You all know that. Okay, so there is that. How to store them. I store my Amazon brushes in a 5x7 box, just like this. This is an iris box, and it works great for storing those brushes. Okay, but if you want to use your inks more often, you want to have them right next to you, whatever, easy to grab. A lot of people use a stand-up rubberized thing. Let me show you what I mean. So last year, a couple years ago, CM came out with these with in October to help celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so we got these really cool rubberized holders, and they work great for setting right next to your workspace for keeping your pens. I keep my shimmer pens and my other journaling pens. I keep my scissors. I keep my multi-purpose tool, my precision point scissors fit really well in there, pencils, pens. My precision point glue is in there. Just lots of things will fit really nicely in here. And one of those things that fits really nicely in here are your brushes for your inks. Okay, so if you have some of these or you have one, get it out and use it for your brushes for your ink. Or talk to your CM advisor about getting one. I don't have any extra, or I would offer you to purchase one from me, but hopefully you know a CM advisor who has one, or maybe you have one from another company that you could use. But these work really great for holding onto your brushes and keeping them from, getting out of control or rolling away or, that kind of thing. And just for kicks and giggles, I'm going to just stick mine in there while we're working today. All right, so this is the other color. So the inks that CM just released are these two brown colors and then a purple plum color, and those go with the Croptoberfest theme. So that's a fun and cool thing also. If you're going to be going and participating in Croptoberfest, maybe you would want to get those to add to your Croptoberfest things. All right, so let's play with some ink. Now I want to make a border around the edge, and I think I want to do, how do I want to do this? I think I want to kind of, let me see if I can take a look at my photos again. I don't really remember how those were laid out, so I'm trying to remember from that how those went. But anyway, let's start with this archival one. This is coffee colored. It's going to be a really light brown. So I'm going to start with a light color and work my way to a darker color. And that's just because I feel like I'm not as experienced as some might be. So I'm going to just kind of start by putting a little bit here and a little bit there. And I'm working in circles because it's sort of natural for me to work in a circle. No one's ever told me to do that. I just feel like it's kind of a more natural way of doing things. I don't know. Okay, so I'm just going to stick that in there. Let's move to maybe a little darker. Let's see about this one. This one is a little bit darker color, and I just moved my stencil. So let's see if I can line that back up a bit better. And then I can come in here and do a little bit more color. So inks take a little bit of time, and you can go back over the top of them and make them darker if you want to. If you get too much ink on your brush, you can dab it on your mat to get some of that ink off. So super fun. Let's do a little bit of this one. And see, I keep hitting my stencil so it keeps moving. A quick hint about these dewdrop things, dewdrop ink pads. They have a little sticker here that attaches to the top with the color information. If you're careful about how you open them, you can actually keep it and use it as a little hinge, and then your lid stays attached. This one, unfortunately, was broken before, so I guess that's not going to work out. But if you can keep that attached, it is kind of handy. Okay, so let's use this one. And this one is the first CM brush we're going to use. So let's see how this one comes together and how the colors work for this one. Just going to line up my stencil again because I nudged it. There. All right. So we're going to do that much for that one. Let's try this super dark one. And we'll go with that. All right, so we're going to use this darker color. And maybe just do just a couple of more spots. Because dark chocolate, you know. Do you like dark chocolate? What's your preference? Do you like dark chocolate, milk chocolate? What do you like? This brown is so much darker. Look at that. So much darker. I like a good dark chocolate, but I have to say my children are testing that because one of them got a chocolate bar that was, I don't know, it was like 60 or 70% cacao. I don't know. It was something like with a really high percentage of cacao. And I tried a little tiny bit. It was like actually I think it was like 73%. It was a Lindt bar that was, I think, 73% cacao. Anyway, It was a lot, and I couldn't eat it. It was yucky. Anyways. Okay, so here is what we're kind of going for, but I'm going to just kind of place it in different areas around my my page. I don't necessarily want it to be a whole row. I'm actually kind of wishing that I had sort of faded it out a little bit better on this side. I'm wondering if I could find a pattern that might kind of match, where I could kind of make it fade a little. Just do a little bit of dark right here and make it kind of fade somewhat. There, that's a little bit better. I don't really want this line, so that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm going for more of this down here where it sort of fades in and out. I'm going to continue working on this, and we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when I've gotten all of it inked, and then we'll talk about pictures and adding our bonbons in around. Okay? So here we'll do the magic snap, shall we? All right, so here is, I think this is where I'm going to stop. And basically all I did was I just took my stencil and I just laid it on different areas of my papers and did my circular motion and just kind of blended things together. These brushes are amazing at blending. I didn't do anything special. I have no like special talent for doing this, really. I mean, I just did different spots with different colors and blended it together as best as I could. Okay, so I'm going to go with that and just kind of scoot that off to the side. Scoot that off to the side. You can see my brushes now look, well used, which is good. And if you like, you can wash these out, but because I'm using one brush for one color, I'm not going to worry about that. I don't think it's going to be a problem necessarily. So I did go ahead and adhere both of my base pages. So these are both temporarily repositionably adhesives down to my mat so that they don't scooch around, because I just didn't want to deal with them scooching around. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is come in here and grab I'm going to grab my pictures, bring them down, and we're going to adhere them to these pieces of cardstock. First, actually, I'm going to lay out my photos on my pages and see how this is going to work. So that if I need to crop any of them down, I will be able to do that. Let's see. Let's see how this comes together. I took pictures of lots of signs. I can't remember how much I've told you about this experience, but when we got there, it was rather late in the day, and this is to a company called the Hazel Mountain Chocolate Company in Burren, and they had already kind of stopped their production for the day, but we could see all of this set behind a glass wall, a window, so to speak. And then on the other side was the little shopping area where you could go ahead and continue to buy chocolate. So of course we bought chocolate, because why not, right? Okay, so I have a Peekaboo pocket that's going to go in the middle because I have, more things that I want to recall from this experience than what will fit on 2 pages. But but we have some really cool. They had these where each of the areas of chocolate were set up. They had these really cool displays, and so we took pictures of all of that because why not? And we bought some. This one's called a Pina Colada bar, dark chocolate, coconut, and pineapple. Really some innovative things in this collection. And maybe I'll trim that photo down just a little so it fits right there just a little better. And then I've got this. It's a Peekaboo Pocket that's going to just sort of float. And this is a Peekaboo Pocket that's going to float underneath it because it's part of the same packaging. Here we've got the receipt and part of that same package of the chocolate-covered honeycomb, which was yummy. Never had anything quite like that before. And then this cutie, you'll recognize him from right here, the chocolate sheep. Everybody has to have a chocolate sheep, don't you know? Okay, so anyway, we've got some of this. So, and then this was a sign that we saw in the burn, and it says the original off-road vehicle. I just thought it was very funny. And someone in our group took a picture. I can't remember if it was me or if it was somebody else, but 4x4 off-road chassis, memory feature for braking. That's the bit. All natural fuel system, pointing at his mouth, global positioning sensors, his eyeballs, onboard voice command control unit, his ears, strap and bit steering, luxury leather seating, the saddle, eco-friendly exhaust system, pointing at his bum, and an independent rear suspension. Just thought it was funny. Very, very funny. Okay, so this I think I'm not sure where we'll put that, but anyway. Okay, this is my page. I'm just gonna set up there. I'm gonna scooch this over just a tad, just because I'm feeling a little crowded over on this side. Let's just give ourselves a little more room. I don't usually have my pages glued down, so maybe that's part of my problem. I'm feeling like I can't shift stuff around because my page is glued to adhered to to my mat. All right. I'm going to just stick that down. Stay. Okay, so let's see. We're going to do a little bit of matting. I'm not going to mat everything, and like I said, I'm going to trim up a couple of these just a little bit. Let's trim this one again just a little. We're going to get those bicycle things out of there. We don't need them. They're not adding anything to the scope of our layout. I have a fly in my basement, ladies. Yikes. He's bugging me too. Okay, so we're gonna place that like that. I think I'm gonna trim the end of this one just up to the chocolate, so we don't have as much overlap going on. Still going to overlap that though. Can you see the chocolate in bars right here? I'm not sure. Maybe they make it somewhere else and put it in bar format and then bring it here and melt it and form it into other things. I don't know. I didn't ask. So, okay. We're going to bring that up to the same level. Those are going to be on the same level, but when we flip them up, we'll be able to see the other fun that's going on underneath. Let's trim this guy. He doesn't need all that wood. We don't need to see all that. So put that there. Maybe we'll just put that underneath since the wrappers are for this same product. I think that works well. And we're going to trim this guy just a little bit to make sure he is fitting in a little better. And we'll put this guy right in there. How about if we adjust that a little? Maybe put that in there. And this guy scooch over. Okay, I like that. But let's talk about mats now. I want to use the green to matte so that we have a little more green going on the page. Let's matte the things that are of the most importance or interest. It's going to change the way this lines up just a little. So we're going to matte this photo right here. And when I say matte, we're not going to do a huge matte. We're just going to do 1/8 of an inch beyond the edge so that we have a little more color, but we're not taking up as much space. All right, so that one, we're going to do this one with my cute Emily posing on the photo. Right place, right time. Her aunt and my mom were right behind her, and they said, "Stand there, we'll take your picture." My kids are all really good at standing and getting their picture taken. All right, we're gonna frame this guy because he's just too cute. Okay, what else on this side do we want to frame? Maybe the hot chocolate. This one I thought was intriguing. Irish milk chocolate with cherry and hazelnut. Doesn't that just sound yummy? I don't know. I'm not necessarily a fan of hazelnut. And I don't know why exactly, but I don't know. It's just never been quite my favorite, but that's okay. Everybody has their favorite. That one's just not my favorite, which is okay. All right, I'm going to grab my trimmer. We are going to trim up these real quick. Let's see. Let's cut these apart. That guy's good. Turn this. That's good. We're gonna trim this just a little bit more. And I moved my trimmer without making sure I push down enough. All right. Does that ever happen to you where you're cutting and you just get lazy? I don't know. I call it being lazy. Just get a little bit lighter on your touch and you just don't cut through as much. Okay, I'm liking the addition of that green. Trying to decide now, do we need more? Is that enough? It's going to go on top there. I think it'll be okay like that with the addition of our little bonbons. I think that'll be just fine. Okay, so I'm going to get this adhered and then we'll be back to do embellishing. All right, and now, so we've got our cute little bonbons up here that we're going to add. And we can use either side, doesn't really matter. Just going to kind of add these in. I'm going to grab my repositionable adhesive right here. And I'm just going to add some to the back of these so that we have a variety of different colors. And we're just going to kind of put these in different places for our clusters. Okay, so we're going to use lots of different colors. We're going to do, let's see, I'm going to do an area right here. Do an area maybe right there. And we'll do another one kind of down here. And maybe just a couple kind of right in here. Okay. Well, then we maybe don't need all of those bonbons, but I just think it is fun. This one actually doesn't show up super well on this side. So maybe what I'll do is take the repositionable adhesive off gently from this side, and we'll flip it over so we can see it better. So you can see it better on this side. I'll add that in like right there. Thoughts? Let me know what you think. So keep in mind, we're going to have these two peekaboos that are going to be right here in the corner, layering over that photo. And we're going to have a peekaboo pocket in the center. This one's going to go in the center. And I think what my goal is with this one, and let me explain how this is going to work. Let me remove these pages so you can see what I'm talking about a little easier. Just move that over there. Okay, so I have these postcards that I want to be able to see both sides of. So my thought is I'm going to put some repositionable adhesive on here. I'm going to set it inside this all the way to the top, kind of center it to from where the crease is over here to where the fold is going to be on that side. Just centering it on that end. Okay, and then sticking it down. And then this one we're going to do the same thing with, only at the bottom, because I want to be able to see both sides of the postcard. Okay, so we've got that. Then these photos here in the middle are not the same size. So I thought, well, I could go ahead and cut a piece of cardstock just to go behind the one. So let's go ahead and cut a piece of this cardstock, the green, because it will match better. We're going to make it 4 inches wide. So I'm going to just cut it here 4 inches. And then let me see how wide or how long this picture is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7/8. So that's what we need here. 4 and 7/8. Right. Then I'm going to take this picture, the smaller one. This picture is going to be centered on that green field. So just barely a frame around the edge. And then this one will fill up the whole space on this side. So we need to make sure it's right side up. Like so. And then I'm going to just add a little bit of adhesive to the corners of this so that it will stay where I want it to inside the peekaboo pocket. Because I'm just going to center that right in the middle of the other two pictures best I can. Okay, we'll see how that holds. I think that will work though. This one up here at the top just doesn't seem to want to stay right at the top, which makes it look crooked. And I don't want it to look crooked. I want it to look beautiful like the rest. Okay, so there we go. So this will go in the center. Just like that. And we'll be able to flip it and read all about the Hazel Mountain Chocolate Company. Super fun. Not a lot of pictures of people in this layout, but that's okay. Sometimes that's the way it works. So I'm excited. I think it's fun to create your own backgrounds using the inks. Obviously I inked more than what we get to see because we put the photos on top of it, but that's just kind of how it works when you're inking in the background. So when you're not quite sure where the photos are going to go, sometimes you're inking in places where you're not necessarily going to need it, but that's okay. That is okay. Let me know what you think. Are you going to use ink? Do you like ink? Have you ever done it before? Do you want to try it? I want to know. Let me know in the comments, would you? Thanks so much for joining me today. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.